Hello everyone and welcome to Callsign Charlie Models. We are starting another build today. This is the Lukgraph Premium Caproni Ca.3 World War I bomber aircraft, and we did the inbox review on this a few weeks ago, and the detail on this kit is absolutely amazing. If you want to go see that, I'll put the link right up here and you can go check that out later on if you'd like. But going into this kit, I've already opened it up. I got the instructions out. We're going to set some stuff off to the side, and then for the most part, for the beginning portions of this build, it's just going to be cutting off parts of the supports, because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be painting pretty much everything separate. We're going to get basically these two pages ready for paint, and then we'll get those painted, and then we'll move on to the engine areas and the wings on here. So what we need to do is we need to start finding these parts on the 3D print blocks and get those cut off of the supports. So moving on, we have a lot of parts in the box, and I'm trying to leave the majority of stuff inside of here because this is part of what I am calling the Squirrel Blitz. I have 7 builds going on right now, 1 build each day, and we're just gonna keep on working on these slowly. So I know a few of these parts, just pull out these parts that we know are part of it or might be a part of it, and we can put them back if we need to. We know the engines are not part of it. Sponsons, engines, wheels, stuff like that, figures, fuel tanks, we need that. Wings we don't need yet. Alright, so that is everything we need so far from the box. And go ahead and get that closed up and put off to the side so we can start cutting off parts. Start off with the main tub, I guess is what it'd be called. Getting this cleaned up. This might take a little bit to get cleaned up. Do you grab, or do I have a empty tub? So this is where we're going to keep all of the parts that we have prepped for paint. Just going to come in and carefully cut off these parts. Gotta be careful because some of these parts, the 3D print connections, like these right here, look like connection or supports for it, so being very careful with that. I think I am going to invest in one of those ultrasonic blades. It'll make life a lot easier on some of these 3D printed builds moving forward. The other big 3D printed build I have coming up sometime, or at least I have it in the stash, is the new AirScale Typhoon car door, which is all 3D printed as well, and absolutely gorgeous on that one for the detail that's in there. So moving forward, so we got that cleaned up. Now we do have a couple of pieces to remove, so we need to remove this part and this part. So we're gonna go ahead and get that cut off carefully. Alright, so we got the cockpit, or the tub, done. Cleaning up some of this stuff in here. Alright, and we can see the detail starting to show up in here. Absolutely gorgeous detail through there. And when we get this all painted up, and everything else loaded in here, it's going to be a lot of fun. But first, what we need to do is we need to hit the areas where the 3D prints, support prints were, and just hit those up with a sander real quick, real light, knocking these down a little bit, just so hopefully we won't have any fit issues when it comes time to put the wings on. Did have a little bit of a resin drip right there and here. Hit that better with the narrow sander. After I kind of hand carve it with a knife, try to smooth it out that way. So I am getting ready to order one more thing for this kit. It's the only thing that I'm going to do aftermarket for this kit, because there's really nothing else that needs to be done aftermarket on this. And that is Peter from Airscale. I did see this on a Facebook post. He designed the bomb rack and bombs for this kit. So I'm waiting to hear back from him, so I can go ahead and get my set ordered. One of the downfalls from this kit, I think it's the only real downfall from this, is with this being a bomber, there were no bombs included in the kit. So that's one of the letdowns from this, or really the only real letdown. The price of the kit can be a huge factor for a lot of modelers, which is a sad thing, because this kit is absolutely gorgeous, but with it being all 3D printed and everything and not injection molded, you pay for what you get. Yes, the box, if they were just to do a regular standard box, I think that could bring down the price a good amount. I don't know if they had a deal with the company making the box, but I think they could give the option of having just a standard box, like a non-premium edition. That would be beneficial and hopefully bring down the price of the kit a lot. So up next, we're going to be cutting off the fuel tanks and getting those ready to go. Then we also have radiators, which I don't think I pulled out of the box. Let's see. We're trying to find what parts we need. We know we need the fuel tanks right here. And I have a feeling that a lot of this build is going to be finding the parts on the 3D print blocks. Because it's not a super high part count for this kit, but I mean, it's not like a injection molded kit where you have everything on sprue A, B, C, D, or E. you kind of have to do some searching to find the parts, which, I mean, it's not too bad. Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm gonna have to fix this fuel tank. Actually, I think that part was inside of the bag. Yeah, there it is. So before we get any farther, I'm gonna go ahead and fix that fuel tank. Alright, so one of the problems, and this is a shipping problem, where the plastic or the resin piece kind of snapped off here. We do still have it in the bag, and it is an easy fix. So that was the one good thing about 3D printed resin, is when something breaks off, it is very easy to fix. All we need to do is find out which way it goes. Like here, we get it situated, and when we glue it back in, you're not going to be able to tell. With a little bit of sanding, we're not going to be able to even tell that there was a break there. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my super glue and my tin. My bench is an absolute disaster area right now because I have so much going on it. Luckily, with me being zoomed in, you really can't see the absolute carnage that's going on my desk. But I mean, and then that's not even including the bench that has the other 6 kits on it right now in process. So I'm just gonna lay some super glue right in here. Try not to glue my finger to the model. Alright, so that is fixed. You can hardly tell right now that there's even an issue with it. There is a little bit of a crack. Actually, looking at it from this angle, you can see the crack. But once I get primer, and also I sand down this edge to get it to match in, you're not going to be able to tell. Actually, I'll go ahead and take care of that sanding right now. Or if you like Super Troopers, right meow. And get that sanded in. Alright, that fuel tank is fixed, and like I said, once we get primer in there, you're really not going to be able to tell. Actually, that looks like that gap was supposed to be there. Oh well. Alright, so get done with the other fuel tank. Do a quick sand on the bottom side so it's a nice flush fit when we glue that into the cockpit area or the tub area. What do you guys call it for the for World War I aircraft? Is it a cockpit or is it the tub? Because these look like bathtubs right here. Alright, so we got that done. Let's see. I am going to need a couple more parts that were over here. Alright, so we need these guys. Be careful with that because that's a nice little hose right there. And after that, we should be able to just cut this straight off. Again, a quick cleanup. Literally, it only takes a few swipes of the sanding stick to get it cleaned up. Alright, so up next, we have this ring, which, now this is going to be super delicate to cut off. This is the ring and the seat that goes on the bombardier / the nose gunner section right here. Then we have this rack, which is also for the nose gun. So we are going to be extremely careful on removing all these. And I think these are the, I can't tell. Okay, so we have some more 3D printed parts back here. But first we're going to start with this ring right here, getting this all cut off. I think what I'm going to have to break out for this is, I think I need my magnetizers for these to see what needs to be cut and what doesn't need to be cut, because some of this area is getting pretty... So I apologize if you see the back of my head. Please let me know if you see any balding spots. I shouldn't, but this is going to be something else. Okay, I'm not sure what this piece is for, but we'll have it cut off and put in the bin for now. So we know we have 2 of them on this. Slowly getting there with these. The detail on these guns, holy crap. Excuse my French, but just... When I was doing the initial review of this kit, a lot of the supports was covering up a lot of the detail on here. And once I get these cut out, you guys are going to get to see this. And from what I'm seeing right now, these are absolutely gorgeous detail on here. And when it's all painted and weathered, this is, I mean, I am in disbelief about the quality and how thin some of these 3D printed parts are. The detail that is in here makes the time and the effort of cutting all these 3D print supports off worth it. Because when you're seeing all this, you're just absolutely amazed, gobstopped about the level of detail that is printed in these parts. Just... And this is just when it's bare resin. This is like not even painted and weathered and all that good stuff. It's just, so you know, I mean, it can go one or two ways. It could be either, I mean, depending on the paint skills that the person has, it could go even better or it could go worse, depending. But I'm hoping that if you are at the level where you are spending almost $800 on a kit, I'm hoping that your skill levels are... This is definitely not a beginner kit. Let's just say that. And I'm hoping that I can do it justice. I'm not saying I'm the best painter. I'm not a Spencer Pollard or any of those guys, or Dukes, or any of those. But I mean, I'm decent. So I'm hoping I can give this model justice, because the detail that's in here, like I said, I'm absolutely dumbfounded about the level of detail that's printed into here. And I haven't even really dove into anything on this kit. I've only cut off what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts, 6 parts, and just absolutely amazed on it. So I'm gonna keep on going for a little bit longer. Sorry, I got the hiccups from dinner. Alright, so up next we're going to get this. So we have the front part for our gun rail up front, or the gun ring up front. Then we have the bombardier's sight right here that we're going to get cut off. I'm going to start off with the bombardier sight, just because it's so small, and I want to... I mean, it's small, but it's not super small. But it'll make getting to the gun elevator a lot easier once this is off. Popped off, but luckily it didn't pop too far. Goes straight into the tote. Alright, so now we're going to cut off these supports. Alright. What was this? There's a little piece. Like I said, you gotta be careful about what you're cutting off, because this looks like a support, but there's actually a little like wind vane or something like that right on this piece right there. So can be very, very careful. Be very, very careful. I'm hunting capronis. There we go. Got that cut off. Alright, so now we're going to cut off this elevator. And first, before we start that, we're going to go on this back side real quick and cut first that spare one, but we're going to cut off the elevator gear right there. You can even see the gear teeth printed into this. I'm not going to cut the outsides off yet. Alright, so like I said, you can see, I'm hoping the camera will pick up the gear teeth on this, on the detail on it, but if not, you're going to see it when it's all painted and weathered, because definitely going to take our time doing that. Alright, so we got that done. Now we move on to cutting off the guns. Get those out of the way, all these. I'm going to be finding 3D print supports throughout the office forever. It's going to be kind of like finding dog fur around the house, because these things, when I cut them off, they're just going everywhere. Alright, so let's work on this gun first. Like on these guns, alright, so I'm looking at it through the optivisor right now, and on this side you have the bullet feed going through, and on this side is empty, and then on the other side you can see all the bullets in there, individually printed, very small. I don't think I can say it enough on how much I am absolutely amazed by the detail on this kit, just even already.
Got to be very careful because the handles to the gun are right behind this support.
I think with how finely detailed these parts are, I definitely would highly recommend not using a ultrasonic knife on here, because you slip up one little bit here and you're going to cut off the wrong part. That's why I'm putting the nippers on the part that I want to cut that's attached to the gun, and then I'm rotating it a little bit to make sure that the actual cutters are in the right position before I go and basically pull the trigger on it, because I don't want to cut anything off by accident like I did earlier. Luckily that's not really a huge factor on that one little piece, but there's no shooting too. Whew. You want to talk about raising your heart rate while modeling. This will definitely do that. Having to remind myself to breathe while I'm doing this too. Alright, so we got done with the first gun, and I'm really hoping that you can see all the detail that's on here. You probably won't be able to see the bullet detail just yet, but they have the cooling jacket right here, they have the sight, the elevation wheel right here, the handles, and the bullets on here. Just absolutely gorgeous detail on here. So now we get to cut off the other one. Oh no, I might just... Let's... Right. Alright, so that's the last piece from that or 3D print block right there. Yeah, let's get this cleaned up real quick. Try to minimize the amount of loose 3D print supports I have on the desk at any given time. Alright, so we got all that done. Put this one back in the bag for now. We'll cut these off real quick. Yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll clear off this block. Cut this all apart from. this step coming up, which is for the parts that aren't like super fragile or delicate, or I have to worry about cutting off small detail pieces, I'm just cutting it off straight from the bottom, and then we can clean up from there on that. So as you can see, the supports are really small, like the connection points for the supports are really small, so they just basically, they're quick, easy break off. There's not much to it, just a quick little cleanup of those. Alright, so that's going to do it for this part, day one of the Caproni Ca.3. Like I said, we still have a lot of cutting to do on here. The next part, we'll hopefully get more of these parts cut off. I know these go onto these are the wing struts right here for the center section. Then we have our pilot seats and everything going on in there. And then some more struts and stuff going on. Just a lot more detail parts going. We're going to be getting all these cut off before we even start to paint. So it's going to be a little bit longer before we get to see any paint going on. But when everything is cut off and we start to paint, it's really going to come to life. And when we have the center cockpit section done, or tub section done, we're really going to start cooking at that point. So, because there's not a lot, there's a lot but not a lot to this build. I think the majority of this build is going to come down to the rigging for the most part. The rigging on this kit looks like it's going to be an absolute nightmare, but a lot of fun, if that makes any sense. And then painting everything is also going to be a lot of fun as well. So, like I said, we got the fuel tanks, we got some of these radiator things, and some of the other parts cut off. I do see where some of those long bars that I was questioning what those were for, I can see what those are right now, at least two of them. There's a couple more I'm not 100% sure of, but I'm sure we'll find out later on, because there's more detail parts going in here, as you can see. So that's where we're standing with this. I will see you guys on day is today, on Friday, when we do part 2 of this. So hope you guys stick around for that. Like I said, this is going to be a really fun build. A lot of delicate pieces and a lot of detail that, just as you can see from the earlier in the video, the detail is making it, getting it all the supports cut off and finding all those Easter eggs of detail in there just makes that time and effort of getting all those supports cut off 100% worth it. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how the rest of this kit is detailed, because when we're doing the inbox review earlier, you kind of see some of it but not all of it, and now we are getting to see the meat and potatoes of the detail of this kit. So like I said, I hope to see you next week and the future weeks moving forward with this kit, because it's going to be a lot of fun once we get rocking and rolling. If you haven't yet, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell button for notifications of when I post future videos, like part 2 of this one, or any of the other various parts from the Squirrel Blitz I have going on, with the 7 or 6 other builds that I have going on. But anyways, I hope you guys have a great day, and happy modeling. I'll see you next time.